3, 2.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Town of Grand Falls-Windsor regular council meeting for April 21st, 2026. I will call the meeting to order, and I'll ask for a resolution for the approval of the agenda, please. Councillor James, second by Councillor Cody. All in favor? Aye. Resolution is carried. We have a total of 7 proclamations tonight, a lot more than we're used to. So we'll get through the 7, and then we'll get into the business of the evening. And I'll call up on Deputy Mayor to start the proclamations with Green Shirt Day.
Thank you, Mayor. Green Shirt Day. Whereas after the devastating events of the Humboldt Broncos bus crash that took the lives of 17 passengers, Humboldt Broncos defenseman Logan Boulette succumbed to his injuries April 7th, and whereas Logan's parents, Bernadine and Toby Boulette, offered to donate his organs so 6 lives could live on, and whereas Logan had registered as an organ donor after being inspired by his coach and mentor, Rick Suget, who was also an organ donor and saved 6 lives when he passed in 2017. Whereas, as news spread of the organ donation by this young hockey player, it's estimated that almost 150,000 people registered to become organ donors in the days and weeks that followed. To date, this is the largest number of Canadians registering to become organ donors in the Canadian history due to one event. And whereas Green Shirt Day was created to honor, remember, and recognize all the victims of families of the fatal crash and to continue Logan's legacy by inspiring Canadians to talk to their families and register as organ donors. Therefore, I, Rod Bennett, the Deputy Mayor of Grand Falls-Windsor, do hereby proclaim April 7, 2026, Green Shirt Day in Grand Falls-Windsor, and I encourage all citizens to wear green, register their decision to become an organ donor and tissue donor, to share their decision with their families.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Our next proclamation is with respect to National Organ and Tissue Donation Awareness Week. And whereas National Organ and Tissue Donation Awareness Week is observed annually across Canada to raise awareness about the life-saving impact of organ and tissue donation, and to encourage Canadians to register their donation decisions. And whereas organ and tissue donation offers hope to individuals and families facing life-threatening illness or injury, and has the power to save and improve lives. And whereas one organ donor can save up to 8 lives and enhance the lives of many more through tissue donation. And whereas we recognize and honor the generosity of donors and their families, as well as the dedication of healthcare professionals and partners who support the donation and transplantation system. And whereas increasing awareness and open conversations about organ and tissue donation helps ensure that individuals' wishes are known and respected. And therefore be it resolved that I, Mike Brown, do hereby proclaim April 19th to the 25th, 2026 as National Organ and Tissue Donation Awareness Week in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor, and encourage all residents to learn more about organ and tissue donation, discuss their wishes with their loved ones, and register their decision. I'll sign off on that, and it'll be displayed in the lobby with the rest of the proclamations. Now I'll call on the Deputy Mayor to do the proclamation for National Volunteer Week.
Thank you, Mayor. Ignite Volunteerism, National Volunteer Week. Community Sector Council Newfoundland and Labrador, along with local and national partners, are navigating the complexities of modern volunteerism. We are working together to build volunteer action strategies for our province and the country to remove barriers to participation so that every individual feels empowered to contribute to build more connected communities. Now, it is more important than ever to acknowledge the contributions of those participating in our towns and cities to show our appreciation for their efforts. Whereas 24 million Canadians give up their time, through formal and informal types of volunteering, contributing close to 5 billion volunteer hours per year, and whereas over 210,000 individuals in Newfoundland and Labrador volunteer an average of 161 hours per year with 3,400 incorporated nonprofits and 3,000 plus informal community groups. Whereas volunteers in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor give up their time and talents to support families, friends, neighbors, and strangers. And whereas volunteers in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor are individuals, families, workers, retirees, community members of all ages and backgrounds. And whereas the town council of the town of Grand Falls-Windsor recognizes the enormous contribution that volunteers and community organizations make to the social, cultural, and economic development of our province. And whereas the town of Grand Falls-Windsor is more desirable place to live because of the collective result of the work being done by volunteers. Now, therefore, I, Rod Bennett, the Deputy Mayor of Grand Falls-Windsor, do hereby proclaim April 19th to the 25th, 2026 as National Volunteer Week, recognizing the 2026 theme, Igniting Volunteerism, and urge my fellow citizens to recognize the crucial role played by volunteers in our community.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. And how fortunate are we here in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor to have the thousands of volunteers we have here in the town. I'm not sure if I know anybody that doesn't volunteer in one capacity or another in Grand Falls-Windsor. So we thank all our volunteers in town and encourage them to keep volunteering. That makes our community as rich as it is. The next proclamation will be for Purple Day for Epilepsy. And whereas Purple Day is a global effort to promote epilepsy awareness in countries around the world, and whereas Purple Day was founded by 9-year-old Cassidy Megan of Nova Scotia, who wanted to let people know that if you have epilepsy, you are not alone. And whereas epilepsy is a chronic neurological disorder which affects each person differently, estimated to affect over 10,000 people in Newfoundland and Labrador, and over 300,000 people in Canada, and 50 million people worldwide. And whereas 1 in 10 persons will have at least one seizure during their lifetime, and whereas the public is often unable to recognize common seizure types and unable to respond with appropriate first aid, and whereas Purple Day will be celebrated on March 26th annually to increase understanding, reduce stigma, and improve the quality of life for people living with epilepsy throughout the country and globally. Now, therefore, be resolved that I, Mike Brown, Mayor of Grand Falls-Windsor, do hereby proclaim March 26th as Purple Day in an effort to raise the awareness and understanding of epilepsy and to support all those who live with seizures each day. Okay, our next proclamation is World Autism Acceptance Day. Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Proclamation World Autism Acceptance Day. Whereas created by the United Nations General Assembly and acknowledged annually on April 2nd, the Autism Society of Newfoundland and Labrador continuously works to center autistic voices and support individuals and families not only on April 2nd, but every day throughout the year. Whereas autism is a neurotype and part of the natural variation of the human neurological development. Human beings have a diverse range of neurotypes, neuro meaning brain. This diversity in the human neurotypes is what we call neurodiversity. Autism falls under the umbrella of neurodiversity. Autism is a neurodevelopmental difference, meaning it reflects in a unique way the brain develops and processes the world, sometimes on a different timeline. Autistic may need various levels of support in different areas throughout their lives, highlighting the importance of understanding and accommodating the unique needs of each individual. Whereas 1 in 45 Newfoundland and Labrador children and youth ages 5 through 17 are diagnosed with autism. Whereas the Autism Society of Newfoundland and Labrador is a province-wide charitable organization dedicated to advancing the rights, supports, and opportunities of autistic people, their families, and caregivers throughout advocacy, education, and meaningful community connections. Therefore, be it resolved that I, Rod Bennett, the Deputy Mayor of Grand Falls-Windsor, in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador, do here recognize April 2nd as World Autism Acceptance Day, while committing to embrace neurodiversity today and every day throughout the year. I encourage all citizens to understand and embrace the differences and needs of others and to include everyone in activities and discussions.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The next one is Fibromyalgia Awareness Day, May 12, 2026. And whereas fibromyalgia, FM, is a complex illness whose symptoms vary widely and may include debilitating chronic pain, overwhelming fatigues, and cognitive impairment, and whereas there is no known cause of or cure for fibromyalgia. And whereas Fibromyalgia Awareness Day is an opportunity to raise awareness and to show support for those living with FM and their families. And whereas Fibromyalgia Association Canada is the only national organization in Canada that supports both FM research and services for people with FM and their families. And whereas fibromyalgia affects about 5% of Canada's population, which is over 2 million men, women, and children of all ages and races, are afflicted with this chronic illness. And whereas people with fibromyalgia have a right to be treated with dignity and have a right to pain relief. Therefore, I, Mike Brown, do hereby proclaim May 12, 2026 as Fibromyalgia Awareness Day in the town of Grand Falls-Windsor. Okay, we got one more to go, and I'll call on the Deputy Mayor once more.
Thank you, Mayor. Proclamation World Ovarian Cancer Day, May 8, 2026. Whereas ovarian cancer has no early detection testing, and whereas ovarian cancer symptoms are often confused with other less severe illnesses, and whereas ovarian cancer has the lowest survival rate of all female cancers, and whereas as many 23% of women with ovarian cancer have an inherited genetic mutation, and whereas genetic testing is a way to identify people at high risk before they develop ovarian cancer. Now therefore it be resolved that I, Rod Bennett, the Deputy Mayor of Grand Falls-Windsor, do hereby proclaim Wednesday, May 8, 2026 as World Ovarian Cancer Day. And Mr. Mayor, I got to talk about something here, and you know, it's genetic testing. That's what was done on me, and that's the reason why that I'm going to live a long life, is because of genetic testing. And I suggest that any woman who feels that they got a bit of an illness because of this, get tested, and that you know, it could definitely save a life.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Okay, we'll move into the regular council business. Can I get a motion to adopt the minutes from March 31st, 2026, please? Councillor Hiscock, can I get a seconder? Councillor Feener, thank you. Any errors or omissions from the minutes of March 31st, 2026? There being none, all in favor of the adoption? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution is carried. Any business arising out of the minutes from March 31st, 2026? There being none, we'll move into item number 6.1. And the Deputy Mayor has some information with respect to sponsorship and some fireworks.
Thank you, Mayor. Information note, the Community Service Department issued 2 requests for pricing, one inviting sponsorship proposals for beer companies for the town of Grand Falls-Windsor from 2026 to 2030, special events and concerts, and the second is to supply fireworks for the 2026 Canada Day celebrations.
Okay. Discussion with respect to the information note. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Council has reviewed the information regarding the beer sponsorship submissions to the town of to the town events from 2026 to 2030, and supply the fireworks for 2026. 2 bids were received for the beer sponsorship, and Molson were deemed to have the best offer. 2 bids were also received for the supply of fireworks, and Supernova Fireworks were deemed to have the best pricing.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any more comments or discussion with respect to the fireworks and beer request for tenders? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to item number 6.2, the 2026 Kelly Ford Exploits Valley Salmon Festival schedule of events. Deputy Mayor, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a little exciting, actually. It's something, a bit of good news for Grand Falls-Windsor. So as an information note, the town of Grand Falls-Windsor has finalized the 2026 Kelly Ford Exploits Valley Salmon Festival schedule of events.
Thank you, Councillor, Deputy Mayor Bennett. Sorry. Any discussion with respect to the Salmon Festival schedule of events? Deputy Mayor.
Discussion, Council reviewed the information note regarding the 2026 Kelly Ford Exploits Valley Salmon Festival schedule of events, and we're pleased and excited to tell you that the town of Grand Falls-Windsor will be hosting the 40th annual Kelly Ford Exploits Valley Salmon Festival from July 9th to the 13th, 2026. This 5-day event will focus on bringing our festival back to its roots, fostering community pride, and provide an entertainment opportunities for all ages. Our festival saw significant changes that freshen up things while providing the highest level of entertainment that is affordable price. And the 2026 will be no different. The Salmon Festival events will take place through the community and will feature some of the Newfoundland and Labrador's top entertainers. In addition to the concert, the organizing committee will continue to make the Salmon Festival dinner a featured event. The dinner will be a 4-course meal prepared by Chef Roy McPherson and Chef John Higgins. The event, with the help of local sponsors, will be offered to the general public for $70, taxes and fees included. And this ensure this will be in high demand. On Thursday, the salmon dinner, there'll be mussels picked up as you come in. The appetizers, individual charcuterie picks with sections of seasoned fruit, berries, cured meats, and cheeses, entrees, grilled glazed salmon fillet, garlic mashed potatoes, steamed green beans, glazed carrot coins, and dessert will be New York cheesecake with a berry compote with a whipped cream. Just a little bit on John Higgins. Like, this guy is renowned throughout the world to be a chef, and same with Roy McPherson. And the event is July 9th, Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium. Doors will open at 6, and the event starts at 7 o'clock. So at 6:30 to 7, we have Casey Callahan will perform a solo. 7 o'clock, we have some welcome from the mayor. And 7:05, greetings from a government representative. 7:15, Kelly Ford will get to speak for a few minutes. 7:30, supper will be served. And 8:15 to 9:30, Casey Callahan and the Wannabe Lovers Band will perform. On Friday night, we have Memories Mug Up. On Friday, we have a Memories Mug Up, 11 o'clock at Classic Theatre, 11 a.m. start, be seated by 10:45. Grand Falls-Windsor's Heritage Society. Admission is free. And let me note that there's only 2 events during this whole 5 days that you'll have to pay for. That's going to be the dinner and the pub crawl. Other than that, everything is going to be free. There's no charge for anything, any other event. We'll have free refreshments. Come and listen to some stories and memories from years gone, and individuals who have a long-time residence of Grand Falls-Windsor and Grand Falls-Windsor Heritage Society event. Saturday, the openers, 9 o'clock to 10 a.m., Andrew Rogers, feature performance, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night, is at the stadium. And then we have 10:30 to 12, we have an Ozzy Osbourne Black Sabbath tribute show. Sunday, we got a community market at the Windsor Stadium, 10 a.m. to 2, free admission, live events, 65 plus vendors will be there. Local entertainment. If you're interested in becoming a vendor, please visit linktr@ee/evc market. It'll be up on our Facebook and our website. Later on that day, at 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock, we have a family fun afternoon, sponsored by the Exploits Community Center sponsor at Church Road Park from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Admission is free again. We have a scavenger hunt, bouncy castles, live music in the gazebo. 1 o'clock to 1:50, we got Mike Snellgrove. 2 to 2:45, we got Three's a Crowd. 3 to 4, we got Sean and Larry. Please note the local mascots may be on site from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And then we have the pub crawl. We have five bars included, 200 participants. There'll be 5 drinks included in the price, 2 different color shirts, including the ticket price. It's a 19-plus event. And that's $75, and that's the taxes and surcharge is included in that. Then on Sunday at 4 p.m., participants will meet at the Classic Theatre. At 4 p.m. for the pub crawl, they'll meet at the Classic Theatre to sign up for the group. Bar will be open, drink tickets are provided, snacks will be served. The Classic Theatre will have Andrew Rogers. Then they'll go to the Royal Canadian Legion, the Rogue Notes, Kelly's, 100 persons, 2 separate visits, Dave and Nicole. Then we have the 4th place is going to be the Grand Rodeo. Will be split 100 participants each, and visits from Arthur O'Brien and the Navigators, and Joe Byrne to finish it off. We have the kitchen party. And then Monday we have Grand Falls-Windsor Day at Centennial Field, sponsored by Equinox Gold. Gates open at 12:30, 1 o'clock to 1:15. There will be a land acknowledgement and greetings from the mayor, an opportunity for greetings from the sponsor. 1:15 to 2:30, Arthur O'Brien and the Navigators will be playing, and 2:45 to 4 o'clock, it'll be the kitchen party band. I think this is going to, and then Monday night, we have a concert at the Classic, 7 p.m. featuring the Newfoundland Ultimate Rock Show, the NL Promotions production, from 7, doors open at 7, show starts at 8. And if you need any information, you got www.classictheatre.net and get all your information there. This is, when I met with the director on this, you know, I've been looking at years past, and this has to be probably the best lineup we had in a long time. And I think it's going to be a great event. Hold on to your money that you don't spend, because we got some more news coming in a little while on another event. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor, for that. And certainly everybody can look forward to the Exploits Valley Salmon Festival. The Deputy Mayor is right on the mark. We got some great entertainment, 5 full days of fun and events for the whole family. And as you noted, there's only 2 events that are got a ticket price on them. The rest of the events are free. And we anticipate a good crowds. Go ahead, Councillor Feener.
There's 3 shows that are ticket, not 2. The one Monday night is tickets sale too as well.
Okay, thanks, Councillor Feener. So the Monday night show at the Classic Theatre is a ticketed event as well?
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay, and the rest are free. So thanks for that, and we look forward to 5 great days of fun and entertainment for all hands. Okay, we'll move on to item number 8.1 now, the 2026 Multi-Year Capital Works Paving Program. Councillor Hiscock, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Just an information note, the town has $969,497 HST included earmarked for its 2023-2026 Multi-Year Capital Works Funding Agreement for the 2026 paving program. The streets selected under this funding are being provided for council for their information. And just a discussion, Mayor, Council reviewed an information note regarding the 2026 paving program, which includes approximately 3.3 lane kilometers of street rehabilitation within the town, all of which must be completed by September the 30th, 2026, and fully paved by December the 31st, 2026. Under the multi-year capital works funding agreement, streets are selected based on pavement conditions, the limited requirement for concrete repairs, which allows asphalt quantities to be maximized, traffic volumes, planned public works repairs, the absence of planned capital underground infrastructure upgrades in the near future, and their overall estimated cost of repairs. And the streets that have been chosen, Mr. Mayor, Carmelite Road, the Church Road intersection, 65 square meters. Carmelite Road, 30 to 40, 160. Main Street at Station Road, Main Street at 7th Avenue, Main Street at Victoria Street, Salt Sand Building inside and St. Catherine Street, Wuthering Drive, Maroon East Avenue, Granville Heights, 300 to 320B, the Main Street Playground parking, and that's it. If there, we may do that, or it depends, Mr. Mayor, on that. Circular Road, High Street to East Street. And some concerns were about, we've been investigating last year or two, Mr. Mayor, Irving Street, Brook Street, and Masters Avenue. But when we came to Public Works and Development, went out and looked, we have underground work to do with regards to water and sewer has to be done first before we can get into doing the paving in those areas, Mr. Mayor. And hopefully next year we had the funding that we may be able to do that.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Any more discussion with respect to the multi-year capital works projects on paving? Okay, there being none, and as Councillor Hiscock noted, there's, we're paving 3.3 kilometres. I think you noted, and we could be paving 300 kilometres, in all fairness. But we got to take it as it comes each year, and as the money is provided for us, as most of the money for the paving comes from the federal and provincial governments. And so those streets have been identified, and we know full well, all of council know there are other streets in town that need to be addressed, and hopefully the following paving season we will get at those streets as well. And we also discussed, some of the smaller streets are sometimes ignored, and the paving goes to the more traffic areas. So we need to come up with a plan, I think, to ensure that these smaller streets and roads throughout our town are addressed. And we could chop off a little bit of percentage of the money we got every year to do those smaller streets that need to be done. So something council discussed and will continue to discuss in the future. Okay, thank you, Councillor Hiscock, for that. We'll move on to item number 8.2, and I'll call on Councillor Hiscock again, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Council's direction is required to proceed with the proposed municipal plan amendment number 26, 2026, and development regulations amendment number 34, 2026, to the Section 15 review process under the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, following completion of the public consultation period. And I propose that council approve proceeding with the proposed integrated community sustainability municipal plan amendment number 26, 2026, and development regulations amendment number 34, 2026, which is the Riverview Road South to the Section 15 review process for the Department of Municipal and Community Affairs under the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hiscock, for that resolution. Can I have a seconder for Councillor Hiscock's resolution, please? Councillor Feener, thank you. Is there any discussion, Councillor Hiscock, with respect to the resolution?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Council is considering amendment to the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor Integrated Community Sustainability Municipal Plan 2022-2032 and Development Regulations 2022-2032 for lands located on Riverview Road South. And basically, Mr. Mayor, what that is, going down Riverview Road, we say towards the old woodroom at the old mill site, there's the last house on the right facing that river, we say. We have now, I think it's CAO, we have 6 pieces of property there? Well, three pieces of property that we looked at that could be building blocks for the future. So basically what we had to do is make the changes now, Mr. Mayor, to open up those 3 building blocks there.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Any more discussion with respect to Councillor Hollett, please?
During our discussions, we pointed out that the skinny piece of pie that wasn't going to be used for actual residential, we were actually not going to rezone that as residential, and we're going to leave it in the
Space.
leave it for green space.
Right.
So, but the information that's provided here now, there's no That's not noted. It's the same thing as we discussed during.
I thought we were clear in our meeting that all we're doing here is for those 3 available lots that were developed by us, actually by the town. And the water and sewer hookups there, just for the 3 lots on the right-hand side going down, and then the rest of the space would be left for green space. There's not enough room for the development there anyway.
Yes, but
Right.
just to reflect that the map is still showing what was showing originally and hasn't been revised.
So this is, if I may,
Yeah,
Thank
go
you.
ahead.
yeah, so like, from our discussion to today, there was no opportunity to change the mapping or anything like that. But when we get to the final step of this process, we can do an amendment, we can change the map later on in the process. So it's still okay to proceed with this as it is, and recognizing that, that triangle piece of land that you're referring to can be adjusted later in the process.
I'm just curious as to why we wouldn't change it before we go through the process as opposed to having to go back and change it back again if we just left it in the zoning that it's in now.
It's, at the moment, for tonight's sake, it's only because we had only discussed it on Tuesday, and now we're back into this meeting, so there was no opportunity to update the mapping.
Okay, so, but the actual resolution that we're passing here tonight does not include that triangle piece, and it's
Yeah.
not something that's going to come back to council that we're going to have to redo again. So I just want to be very clear before we adopt this here this evening, that everyone is very clear on what we're actually
All
adopting.
clear at the Tuesday meeting, for
Thank you.
sure. Thank you, Councillor Hollett. Any more discussion with respect to the, Councillor Hiscock?
Well, with regards to Councillor Hollett's inquiries, that was discussed at the meeting. And we said then that it was only going to be 3 lots of land. And like, as Councillor Hollett said, like the triangle piece at the end is not big enough for anything anyhow.
Right.
But unfortunately, with the time constraints, we couldn't make adjustments to the map. But in our discussions last Tuesday, that was discussed that it would not be included in the amendment bringing about Fort now.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Any other notes with respect to this resolution? Okay, we got a mover and a seconder. All in favor of the resolution? Any opposed? The resolution is carried. Okay, now we'll move on to item number 8.3, and I'll call on Councillor Hiscock once more.
Thank you, Mayor. Decision to approve Municipal Plan Amendment Number 10, 2024, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 14, 2024, following completion of the public consultation process and cancellation of the public hearing due to no submissions received. And I propose that under the authority of Section 16, Section 17, and Section 18 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000, the Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor approves Amendment Number 10, 2024, to the Integrated Community Sustainability Municipal Plan under the authority of Section 16, Section 17, and 18 of the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. The Town Council of Grand Falls-Windsor approves Amendment Number 14, 2024, to the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor Development Regulations.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Can I get a seconder for the resolution, please? Councillor Feener, thank you very much. Any discussion with respect to the proposed resolution? Councillor Hiscock, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the Municipal Plan Amendment Number 10, 2024, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 14, 2024, were adopted by Council on February the 17th, 2026, in accordance with the Rural and Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000. Public notice of adoption was completed, and a public hearing was scheduled for March 25th of 2026, and no submissions or objections were received by the deadline, and as a result, the public hearing was canceled.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Any further discussion or with respect to the resolution? Okay, and with this resolution, it will support the Housing Accelerator Fund and the commitments we have made, and enables increased housing supply and flexibility as well. Councillor James, please.
Probably for my own benefit more than anybody else, but I'm sure that the way these things have been read out, like for example, Plan Amendment Number 10, 2024, and all these numbers, like I just looked at a copy of a letter that went up on the board at the stadium, and I can't see, like, okay, what is Number 10, 2024? Development Regulations Amendment Number 14, following completion public, like what did we talk about? Like, I don't, people have come to me and wondered, what do all these numbers mean? And I really don't know what to tell them. I know it's for looking things up and indexing and stuff like that, but like, is there some format where we like put down this amendment and then say in plain language exactly what it is? That's just a question that I have, because, you know, while I'm sitting here, I mean, I can go and look it up and follow it, but there's a lot of people that don't have that luxury. So I just wondered if I'm making sense, or if there's knowledge that everybody should know.
Sure you are, and the public is certainly can go on our website. It'll all be on our website after this meeting at some point, I'm sure. So what we're doing here now is we're making amendments to that, to those municipal plan, so that we can speed up housing here in Grand Falls-Windsor, right? And that's all there. And it's all, and it's all in the information note that Councillor Hiscock just read to, and the minutes of the meeting are all on our website as well, or will be once they're passed. So, good question, and Councillor Hiscock, go ahead.
Yeah, okay, Mr. Mayor, yeah, to further that, I mean, the alignment with strategic direction supports housing accelerator fund commitments and enables increased housing supply and flexibility, and process aligns with section 16, 17, and 18 of the Urban Rural Planning Act 2000. And like I said, Mr. Mayor, it'll be all on our town's website if anybody needs any more information with regards to that.
Just call any, myself or any councillor or deputy mayor at any time, and we'll be only too happy to help. CAO, you want a few words on that?
Yeah, sure. So to Councillor Janes's comments, because, you know, we are like adopting municipal plan amendments and development regulation amendments. So both documents are related to our planning for how we allow development to occur. And this becomes like a legalese thing, like how we adopt it. That's because we're following the legislation and under the guidance of a town planning consultant that we use. So that's why it comes across like that, because people rely on it for planning in terms of what we're legally allowed to approve or not approve. So that's why it becomes like that. Probably there could be a way we could consider explaining it more simply, in addition to doing this. But this particular regulation change is related to supporting what we call 4 units, or 4 units as of right, and which allows. So this amendment allows for properties that have the right space in terms of rear yards and side yards. If they're in the right zoning, they could have up to 4 units on their property as a right, which means they could have, like your primary residence, you could have 2 apartments in your house, and you could have a subsidiary garden suite type of property. Long as the garden suite is built to code, like you just can't switch a shed to an apartment, but you can switch, or if a garage has the structure of a foundation in it, it can be appropriately switched to a garden suite or an apartment suite. That could be considered, that could be approved if you have the right space. And we've also increased in this amendment, because you could build on a property in town of Grand Falls-Windsor and use up to 40% of your land space for buildings. And that's what it always was. But if you have 4 units, you can be approved up to using 50%, which allows more flexibility for people that want to consider having 4 units on a property. So that's what this amendment is all about.
Thanks, Yale. Thank you. I'd like to say, I hope that clarifies some of the questions that I've been getting, and I thank you for your concerns on these matters.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Janes. Councillor Holub.
I want to reiterate what Councillor Jane's concerns are. Going forward, I think it'd be a good idea if we could actually do our legalese amendments that we're doing, but to also have layman's terms so that people can actually know what this actually relates to. Doesn't need to be lengthy. Sometimes just a few words, concise and well worded, can actually get the message through to the citizens that are questioning. Because a lot of people feel the same way. I know, like you said, we have resources available to us, but not everyone can cipher through all of the information that's there.
Okay, thank you very much. Any more comments or discussion with respect to the resolution? Councillor Cody.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to reiterate The supporting documentation is also in our packages. The plan is available on our website. Our residents can have access to it. It reads, pretty general, yes. There's terminology and whatnot in there that might need some clarification, but at the end of the day, the information is all there. It's available to the public. These are regulatory changes that are mandatory for us to do in order to proceed with this work. So, like I said, the supporting documentation is there. It's spelled out pretty clearly what it's for, where what the locations are when we make these changes. So, again, the backup documentation is there. It's available. Reach out if you want access to it, if you can't find it.
Anytime. Okay, thank you, Councillor Cody. Anybody else? We have a resolution on the floor. We do have a seconder. Oh, go ahead.
Just for clarification purposes, when you say the right for residents, can that include one big building as opposed to a resident with 2 apartments and a subsidiary? Would you be able to build a 4-apartment building
In one
as
structure.
opposed to one structure as opposed to subsidiary? Because it just says right of 4, so I just wanted to clarify as to exactly what that right of 4 means. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I don't know the answer. It's a good question.
No.
I'd have to check that out because it's not, it is something that'd be interesting as a possibility. But I've only remember it being discussed as 3 in the main primary building and 1 as an accessory building. But I'll get that clarification because that'd be good information to get.
Okay. Thank you.
To understand, yeah.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Deputy.
Yeah, I got to speak on this, the wording. It's great for us to be able to, as councillors, to be able to go sit down with our engineering department or speak to someone and get clarification. There is some wording this in here. It's like going to a doctor. When you go to a doctor, he's going to give you all these words that, you just don't understand. And you got to go home now and you got to get this done. But I think it'd be quite clear if we can just do a paragraph, explain things, what it's about, just a paragraph, and it'll be make it much more clearer to the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Any more comments with respect to the resolution? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution is carried. We'll move on to item number 8.4, and I'll call on Councillor Hiscock once more, please.
Thank you, Mayor. The decision to consider the Commissioner's report and determine whether to approve Municipal Plan Amendment Number 18, 2025, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 23 of 2025. And I propose that Council, having considered the Commissioner's report, approve Municipal Plan Amendment Number 18, 2025, and Development Regulations Amendment Number 23, 2025, as adopted.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Can I get a seconder for Councillor Hiscock's resolution, please? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Any discussion with respect to the resolution?
Thank you, Mayor. The proposed amendments are intended to expand opportunities for residential care uses within the town by adding them as discretionary use in additional zones, including commercial and higher density residential areas, and aligning the development regulations accordingly. The intent of these amendments is to increase flexibility and remove barriers to the development of residential care facilities, recognizing the growing need for such services in the community. The Commissioner has confirmed that all legislative requirements under the Urban and Rural Planning Act 2000 have been met, and that the process undertaken by the town was compliant. And this, like I said, a number of concerns were raised. We had a great meeting at the Joe Byrne. It was well attended, and a lot of excellent concerns were brought up, and I think it was resolved to everybody's thinking and everybody's liking. Thank you.
And we need to redefine the definition of residential care. But this just allows these not-for-profit groups to establish areas in commercial zones where they might be able to carry out their business, for the want of a better word. Any more comments with respect to the residential care? And as you know, lots of groups were well represented at this area, and I guess, and we had a meeting before that as well with these groups as well in the committee room. Councillor Hall attended that one. And they were quite clear that there's some work to be done on this. We need to work on our definitions for residential care. We'll do that as quickly as we can, and so that these groups can, as say, carry on with their business. Any more comments? Councillor Hollett, please.
In regards to meeting with the group, they were very well represented, and they have the expertise in this area. And we certainly appreciate all of the information and the guidance that they were willing to provide to us. And I look forward to working with them as we go through and ensuring that everyone is considered when we look at anyone in the vulnerable sector, and ensure that our residential care actually meets all of the criterias and we get it right. And I just want to point out that in the Commissioner's report that there was also a couple of inconsistencies between some of the municipal plan and the development regulations, and that's something that we're going to also have to be working on as we go forward. So I look forward to working with these groups as we move on. Thank you.
For sure. Thank you, Councillor Hollett. Councillor Janes.
Yes, Mayor, and I think it's fair to say that this particular processes that we go through with Councillor Hiscock's process with the big duties and tough duties that he got, that this particular process, actually, this is a case where it really, really worked. Because, I mean, we all went in with different ideas on different things, and some mistakes may have been made, and then after the conversations, after we got briefed on it all from you people, it was like there was a consensus made, there was a great get-together, everybody came through an understanding, there was a lot of participation, and this is the benefit of having a system in place like this. So I'd like to say this is once for my 7 months on council where I really saw this process work to everybody's advantage. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Janes. I agree. Any more comments with respect to Councillor Hiscock's resolution? Okay, there being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The resolution is carried. Move on to item number 8.5, and I'll call on Councillor Hiscock for the last time this evening.
Thank you, Mayor. A decision to consider a discretionary use application for a home-based massage therapy business at 4 Silcott Drive. And I propose that council permit the operation of a home-based massage therapy business at 4 Silcott Drive as a discretionary use subject to compliance with the town of Grand Falls-Windsor development regulations.
Can I get a seconder for that resolution, please? Deputy Mayor, thank you. Any discussion with respect to the resolution? Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, the department received a completed application from the applicant with consent from the property owners to operate a home-based massage therapy practice at 4 Silcott Drive. This type of use is classified as discretionary under the town of Grand Falls-Windsor Development Regulations 2012-2022. The application identifies the business as registered massage therapy practice to be operated within the dwelling. The proposed operation will utilize approximately 250 square feet of the home with up to 5 clients visiting per day and adequate on-site parking available. No signage, exterior storage, or renovations are proposed. These factors indicate the use will remain low impact and compatible with surrounding residential areas. And in accordance with the regulations, written notices of the application was circulated to all abutting and adjacent property owners, advising of the proposal and providing an opportunity for comment. The public consultation period closed on March the 12th, and no written submissions, objections, or concerns were received during the notification period.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Any more discussion or comments with respect to the resolution? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Resolution is carried. Okay, we'll move on to item number 9.1. Councillor Cody, she'll speak to the disbursement report.
Thank you, Mayor. The information note is prepared by staff and reviewed by council, which provides a summary of disbursements over $1,000 as of March 31st, 2026, in the amount of $2,365,941.54. Also disclosed on the report are pre-authorized payments of $531,694.38 and invoices under $1,000 in the amount of $34,369.38. $776.49. The town's disbursements for this period reflect necessary operational costs, capital commitments, and community investments, in addition to payments relating to partnerships with other government agencies. Management will continue to monitor expenses and report disbursements at future meetings.
Thank you, Councillor Coley. Any comments with respect to the disbursement report for March 2026? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to item number 9.2, an information note on the taxation receivable analysis for March 2026.
Thank you again. So this is the summary of taxation receivables for council's review. The information note is prepared by staff and reviewed by council, which provides a summary of taxation receivables as of March 31st, 2026. The total taxation receivables amount to $12,023,026.92, which is an increase of $74,759.59, or 0.63% compared to the previous year. Monthly collections for March 2026 were $10,013,696, or approximately 45% of the outstanding receivable entering the month. Please contact the Town Hall at 709-489-0402, 0403, or 0404 with any questions about your tax bill. The due date of March 31st, 2026 has now passed, and interest will now be applied to your account for any outstanding balance. There are payment plans available for those who would rather pay their balance off throughout the year, and there would be no interest applied for those who sign up on pre-authorized payments. So again, management and staff will continue to monitor taxation receivables and use all necessary methods of collection to lower the outstanding balance each month.
Thank you, Councillor Cody. Any comments with respect to the information note on the taxation receivable analysis for March 2026? Councillor Cody.
Yeah, just to reiterate, as I do at pretty well every meeting, we're here to help. We don't want anyone to face any, undue hardships. We will work with you. Come in, make an appointment, sit down with us. We have a private room available, very discreet. We understand that, people go through difficult times, and we don't want your town taxes to be, part of any hardship that you're facing. So come in and talk to us. We'll work with you. We'll come up with a reasonable plan. We don't want to be having to, do the water shutoffs and things like that, but the weather is improving. We now will have the ability to do that again as a means of collection. Again, not something we want to do, but is a necessary means of collection sometimes. So please reach out to us, and we'll do what we can to assist.
No, and we can assist, and thank you for that. Any more comments with respect to the taxation receivable analysis? There being none, I'll call on Councillor Hollett now. She has an information note on the Fire Spark Community Wildfire Resiliency Funding Application Submission. Councillor Hollett.
Thank you, Mayor. The information note is the Fire Smart Community Wildfire Resiliency Funding Application Submission. And the information note is to inform Council that the Town of Grand Falls-Windsor has submitted an application to the provincial government under the Newfoundland and Labrador Community Wildfire Prevention and Mitigation Program to support development of a community wildfire resiliency plan and wildfire mitigation initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hollett. Any more discussion with respect to Councillor Hollett's information note? Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Hollett.
The provincial government recently introduced the Community Wildfire Prevention and Mitigation Program to assist municipalities in improving wildfire preparedness and reducing wildfire risks at the community level. The Town of Grand Falls-Windsor submitted an application on March 13th, 2026, seeking funding to develop a community wildfire resiliency plan and implemented targeted fire smart mitigation initiatives. The proposed project includes development of the resiliency plan, community education and outreach activities, wildfire risk assessment and mapping improvements, vegetation management, and fuel reduction initiatives, and the acquisition of equipment to strengthen structural protection capacity during wildfire events. And if funded, the project will strengthen the town's emergency preparedness and support long-term wildfire risk reduction across residential, commercial, and industrial areas of the community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hollett. Any more comments with respect to this? After the last couple, or two of the last 3 summers, we certainly need a plan. We've had fire on both sides of us. To have this plan in place well before we're threatened by any emergencies, fire emergencies, will be helpful, and have it in place for years to come.
Just wonder if there's been, I know it's only early in the application process, but have we had any response from this particular group? Because as you've noticed, this is a very, very important project for us.
Right.
Especially considering what happened the last couple of years. So I'm kind of guessing that they might kind of move this along forward, the powers that be. So we just submitted our request. We haven't heard anything in the interim, or have we?
Yeah, we got it approved.
We got approved for,
Not
for all, not for $165,000.
didn't know you wanted me to announce it for you, didn't I? But
No, I wouldn't think so either. But
But so those announcements were made by government last week. And so, we'll update council on that, on those awards that were given.
So we have been given an amount.
Yes, we have.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, muchly needed. Like I said, we're surrounded by the forest here in Grand Falls-Windsor and Central Newfoundland, and to have this plan in place to know that where we're going when the next emergency occurs is important. Any more comments or discussion with respect to Councillor Hollett's information note?
I just have one
Yeah.
thing. Mayor, I was wondering if we would have that in place. I mean, it's pretty late, and we're into April now. I'm wondering, will we actually have that plan in place now that we are approved, or is that something that would probably take, this year to actually have the plan implemented for next wildfire season?
No, we would, the process has begun, I guess.
So the plan for wildfire resiliency plan is a plan that'll supplement our all hazards emergency plan that the town has, which includes forest fires, floods, power losses, because we have an all hazards plan in terms of when the council declares a state of emergency, we form an EOC, and then we respond to whatever incidents are before us. So this wildfire plan will identify, it'll take a few months to get the right consultant group probably involved to give us advice on what are the risks for our community. There'll probably be some community engagement or consultation in that process, and then a plan will come out. Such a plan could include things like, which are in the information note, like vegetation control, which would be like brush clearing around the water treatment plant or sewer treatment plant, critical infrastructure. It could include education to homeowners that are on a forest interface belt, like homes on Goodyear or on Grenville Heights, where it's clearly in the forest. What do they need to think or be aware of in their homes, that if a forest fire came up on their property boundaries, have they thought about the risks that could catch their houses and accessory buildings on fire? Those are just a couple of examples of what would be in a wildfire resiliency plan. But there's probably a lot more that I'm not thinking about that would be covered by a plan, because sadly there's lots of experience in Canada and beyond about what the risks are for wildfires. And And so when we get the plan, then the plan will have it will have recommendations for implementing activities, education, or physical work like vegetation control. So like there will be, and then there will be a cost to that. So like it's the plan and then the implementation and getting the money for it. And so there's years of work actually, and there's ongoing work is what it'll be. Yeah.
Thank you. Mr. Finn? Any more comments with respect to Councillor Feener?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, just speaking on the forest fires, we have two fire seasons when you really look at it. The spring of the year, just after the snow melts, you got a lot of dead vegetation. There's usually no fire warnings at that time, but the vegetation is really dry, and the fire can take off on you pretty fast. During the summer now, when the weather warms up, this is when you get the high fire index. So you really got two seasons, and the first one being around municipalities probably being the worst, because that's closer where kids would like to go in the woods. They got little forts, little cabins made, and everything's so dry, everything's so dead around there. You know, so that's I know around this community here, we've had a couple of areas identified previous that were fire hazards. You know, somewhere next door to some seniors' residences as well, right? So. You know, so there's two seasons. There's one in the spring that we really got to look at. That's when the fires are really close to communities, and when the fire index gets high, that's when the whole forest right across the province becomes an issue. But as soon as the snow goes, we have an issue around the communities with a lot of dead debris. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Feener. And certainly there's already been some grass and brush fires around the island this early, despite all the snow we had over the winter. And Councillor Feener is right. If you just walk in your own garden, you'll identify how actually dry it is. And we remember, I think it was 85 or 86 where a fire encroached on our community, and it was quite the emergency at that time, and a lot of people were scared and afraid to have the forest fire entering our community, which it did at that time. So this will also help, we'll have a plan for, like I said, the first fire season, as Councillor Feener noted. Any more discussion with respect to forest fire seasons? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to item number 10.2. Councillor Hollett, please.
This is an information note. The Grand Falls-Windsor Fire Department Incident Responses Report for the first quarter of 2026. And it's to provide an overview of the fire department incident activity and trends for the period January 1st to March 31st, 2026, based on operational reports. And the discussion is, the Grand Falls-Windsor Fire Department responded to 65 incidents during the first quarter of 2026. This represents steady operational demand consistent with prior periods. The types of responses were diverse and included alarm activations, investigations, motor vehicle collisions, fires, and public service calls. Incident data was compiled from the fire department's detailed incident reports and summary reports by type. And the breakdown of calls from January 1st to March 31st, 2026. In January, there was 25 calls. February, 23 calls. March, 17 calls. Thank you.
Councillor Hollett. Any more discussions with respect to the fire department incident responses for the first quarter of 2026? And that's a lot of calls each month. It's almost one a day. For January and February, and one every other day for March. And certainly we're fortunate for the Grand Falls-Windsor Volunteer Fire Department, the most important volunteer organization we got in town, I think. And there's 14,000 people going to bed tonight, comfortable and relaxed, knowing that if there is an emergency, the men and women of our fire department will be there tout suite to assist. Any more comments with respect? Yeah, go ahead, Councillor James.
Yes, Mayor Brown. I'm looking at the 25 calls in January, 23 February, 17 March, and, you know, it's highlighted here, you know, including a high number of alarm activations. And I think that's our responsibility, no question, in our own homes, to make sure that our alarms are up and running properly. The wiring is up to code, clearing away the cobwebs, just making good and sure that they're accessible, easy to change, and if they're run by battery, which I'm not, Some people might say I am, but which I'm not. You know, all you got to do is check your batteries. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor James, very much for that. And we'll leave it at that. Any more comments or discussion with respect to the fire department's report for the first quarter of 2026? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to item number 10.3. Councillor Hollett, please.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an information note for the Municipal Enforcement First Quarter Report for 2026. And it's to Council to review the Grand Falls-Windsor Municipal Enforcement Police activities, January 1st to March 31st, 2026. And Council reviewed an information note regarding an overview of MEO enforcement report for January 1st to March 31st, 2026. And the report provides an overview of the Grand Falls-Windsor Municipal Police bylaw enforcement activities for the first quarter and includes incident statistics, bylaw infractions, community engagement efforts, notable incidents, and future priorities. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hollett. And there's quite a long list of incidents our municipal police officers respond to. You'll note they gave out 36 summary offence tickets, or 33, I'm sorry, in the first quarter of 2026. And we don't like giving out tickets, but if you're going 20 kilometres over the speed limit through a residential zone, you're getting a ticket, I hope. And you certainly deserve one. People need to slow down. The evenings are getting longer and warmer, although the forecast for tomorrow wouldn't indicate that. They are in a general sense. And we ask people to slow down and take their time. There's nowhere in Grand Falls-Windsor you can't leave from and be there in less than 5 minutes or 5 minutes max. So hopefully everybody follows those laws, and to be speeding through residential zones, which we get complaints on occasion, is unacceptable behavior for many of our residents. And there's kids in all those residential neighborhoods playing, and you're taking their life in your hands along with your own when you're not following the traffic regulations. Councillor Feener.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Just relating to the police here, I know we're down a member now, is that correct? Or are we going to get 4 members when the dust all clears? Okay, no, I just put it out there. Maybe we should really consider when we get a full complement of officers that we should get a couple of night shifts during the week. You know, like there's not much activity here. I know we've had a lot of issues this year with parking on the streets during snow clearing. Very little enforcement done, and I know that we were short-staffed and stuff. So, like in the future, if we're going to have 4 members on, I know you got to have 2 working together at night shift. Well, I think we really should consider a couple nights a week that we have 2 officers paired up and do a night shift.
Yeah, thanks for that. And that's something we'll discuss when we get back to for full complement of officers. Yep. And we all understand that municipal police are limited to what they can do, but their presence alone, Councillor Feener, you're right, during any time of the day or night is important, and might avoid a crime that's about to be committed. If you see a police car coming up the road, you might change your mind. And good point, and we'll get to that when the full complement of officers are hired. And when we expect that, Mr. Finn? Anytime soon to have the 4th one on and get back to a regular schedule?
Yeah, actually had some discussions on it this week, so
Good.
I couldn't give you a timeline because there's a lot of variables involved, but it's something we're going to turn our attention to.
Okay. Good news. Okay, thank you for that. Thank you, Councillor Hollett. Any more discussion with respect to the municipal enforcement incident reports for the first quarter? Okay, there being none, we'll move on to new business, and I'm not sure who started last time. I think it was Councillor Hollett. Was it you? Okay. Councillor Cody. No, Councillor Feener wasn't here at the last meeting, see? So, cool.
We're still going to come around, so you'll get a turn.
We'll still get to you, Councillor Feener, for sure.
I got one thing to say, Mr. Mayor, and I guess it'll be said before we get back, so.
There's a chance, for sure. Okay, Councillor Cody.
Thank you, Mayor. Exploits Valley High production of grease is coming up quickly. It's May 8th, 9th, and 10th. There's a Facebook page, EVH Grease Musical. They're posting little snippets and stuff now of the rehearsals. So it's really getting exciting now. And I'm hearing lots in the community about it, and lots in my own home about it, actually, because Teresa's in it as well. But the town is just buzzing about this production. It's going to be really fantastic. I believe there are seats left in the balcony now. So if you want to go, make sure you get your tickets, because they are selling very, very quickly. The weather is supposed to be improving. Our parks and playgrounds, you can tell already now that snow has melted. In the playgrounds, the basketball court, the snow has melted. People are just out enjoying. And with the snow melt, we start to see deficiencies that have happened over the winter months. So if you're in our parks or playgrounds and you notice something, reach out to one of the members of council or reach out to the town and report it, so we can make sure that it gets addressed and repaired quickly. People are out walking and enjoying the weather now as well, but the darkness does tend to creep in still quickly. And in the mornings as well, it's still a bit dusky, foggy. So please make sure you're wearing some reflective clothing or reflective armbands, just so people can see you as you're out enjoying the weather. And while you're doing that as well, our line painting is not going to happen for a little while yet, and our crosswalks. So motorists, please be extra diligent when you're driving around and observant. People, they may be standing in a crosswalk area that the paint has kind of disappeared over the winter months. So just be cautious that people are looking to cross the roads and they want to be able to do that safely. If you are using the crosswalks and whatnot, the lighted crosswalks with the push buttons, please make sure you activate those. A lot of times people will just stand there and they won't press the button to activate to notify the motorists that you're waiting there. So make sure you use the tools that are available to you to make sure that you are noticed. And I wanted to, I don't want to bring up the terrible events that have happened in our community of recent, but I do want to recognize our first responders, the RCMP, our fire department, exploit search and rescue, and of course the ambulance operators, and first responders at hospitals, when patients and that are coming in from these tragic events. We're in a small community. We don't have a whole lot of turnover in employees and different shifts and whatnot, and a lot of these occurrences is probably the same responders going to those calls. And that's very difficult when you attend to one call. You need time to do the appropriate counseling, do your debrief, do what you need to do to support your own mental health in coping and dealing with responding to these tragic events. So when they're happening on top of each other, and you're responding to more than one, in a short period of time, it's very hard. It's hard on your head, it's hard on your heart, it's hard on your body, it's hard on your family. So I do just want to take a moment and recognize our first responders and thank them for the work that they do, and know that we support them and we're with them. And my throat, I don't know, too much talking at work probably. But we support them, and if there's anything that we can do to help support them further, then of course, we are willing to do what we can. So again, a huge thank you to all first responders in our community.
Okay, thank you. And you're right, some tragic events over the last 3 weeks has had a negative impact on everybody in our community, and we stressed as a council to let everybody know that don't be out there alone. Contact a friend if you're feeling down or alone, or contact a friend. And there's also available outlets in Grand Falls-Windsor and organizations that will discuss and get you the help you need if required. So don't be alone, and don't be afraid to reach out for help. Councillor Janes.
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have a real long list tonight, but just a couple of things. Personally speaking, I'm very excited about this time of the year because It's one of the best because the seasons are changing, except for tomorrow. We're pretty well out of the woods. There's a lot happened here this winter, well, actually since the fall. Minor hockey's had an incredibly successful season. Volunteerism, as we noted earlier, is huge in that organization. They brought home some banners, well attended, hotels filled all winter, all fall long. Figure skating show on Saturday was absolutely outstanding. And the way the way they decorated it, the way they organized it was something to behold. I was really honored to be there. I can't speak enough about the ski lodge down there. They went gangbusters this year, and yes, it's probably because they had the most snow they've had in 8 or 10 years. But Dave Stooley and his gang of volunteers and his board down there have done young women's and young men's work. I mean, we should be proud of what we offer as it relates to these types of things. We're coming into the best time of the year in the baseball season. Things are going to change. Kids are out on their bikes now. The motorcycles are out again. Keep an eye on that. But kids are on their bikes. It's a little lighter now, thank the Lord, but we have to be vigilant, we have to be safe, and we have to keep an eye on our neighborhoods. One time we used to have neighborhood watches, and I've got a funny feeling that a lot of that is about to start to rekindle in a positive way. And the last thing I want to say about volunteers was I think about people like Bruce Moores, Mike Brown, and a bunch more. And yes, Mike Brown, the mayor, we did some volunteering this past week. I think it's going to be our last minor hockey tournament. We did well. And last going off, if I may, is that time of year for fundraising again for many, many organizations. One in particular that strikes my heart deeply is the Lionel Kellen Hospice. So these events are coming, folks. Let's support them all to the best of our abilities. Let's keep up the good work. A few adjustments have to be made for this time of the year, but I think we can all pool our resources and get the job done. Thank you, Mayor Brown.
Thank you, Councillor James. Councillor Hiscock.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple of items. First off, last weekend at the community kitchen in sponsored the community kitchen and the town of Grand Falls-Windsor sponsored a free seniors dinner with soup and sandwiches, and we put out over 300 dinners for people that came in and sat down and ate, and ones that we took and delivered to shut-ins and seniors that could not get out. So it was great afternoon, and the Deputy Mayor was there, and Councillor Janes and Councillor Feener. And so that was great to see, good to see. April the 30th, Community Kitchen fundraiser. We're hosting a Moose Burger, Moose Soup sale. It's a fundraiser that goes towards the expenses of the Community Kitchen. So, you know, come on out and help support a very, very worthwhile cause. The CNIB Mobile Hub is coming to Grand Falls-Windsor, and it's Tuesday, April the 28th. From 2:30 to 4, it's going to be at the Lions Club at 136 Main Street. And learn about the services and supports. Also learn about the CNIB's new legal referral services that they have. So it's a great, great thing. And also, Mr. Mayor, firefighter Bill Hancock retired from Grand Falls-Windsor Fire Rescue after 22 years of service. And big thank you to firefighter Bill Hancock, and also Deputy Fire Chief Byrne. Retired, 53 and a half years service to the town and the residents of Grand Falls-Windsor. Absolutely outstanding, right? And a great big thank you to Deputy Chief Byrne and as well firefighter Bill Hancock and their families. Like, these firefighters go out and they perform the duties. They're at practices and doing everything, and there's training, but the families are the ones that are standing behind them 100%. And big thank you to all involved. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hiscock. Councillor Hollett.
Thank you, Mayor. A few things for me this evening. As Councillor Cody pointed out, it's hard not to bring up the tragic events that happened in our community. And I just wanted to express my sincere condolences to the victims and their families. One incident is a tragedy, but 2 incidents is very, very alarming. And this is concerning to me not only as a councillor, but as a resident. But there are supports out there. So I encourage, if you know anyone who, if you are or you know anyone who's experienced intimate partner violence, to contact the status of Women's Central. So I just want to highlight them and showcase them here tonight And I'm hoping to continue going forward that we can actually start highlighting some of the support groups that are in our community. We have so many, and I think this is a good venue to try and get the message out to all of these groups, because they are what keeps our community going. So I just want to take a moment to highlight the status of Women's Central. They're actually a frontline organization, and they deal hands-on with intimate partner violence on a daily basis. And they currently have an intimate partner and family violence counselor who can provide free counseling services to anyone who needs it. So feel free, and they have numerous other resources available. I was on their website, I picked up a brochure. The resources that this facility has available to our community and to anyone that needs their resources should certainly reach out. The status of Women's Central are actually located at 5B Bailey Street, Grand Falls, Windsor, and their telephone number is 709-489-8919, and you can also visit their Facebook page, or you can actually look them up online. You can find they actually have a very well-developed website. So and there's a lot of resources there. But the key is kind of what you said, is you're not alone. So if you ever feel that, whether it's in intimate partner or if it's any, as Councillor Cody was saying, in regards to traumas from our frontline staff and our first responders, we have to make sure that these resources are out there and that people are aware that these are out there, because we hope to avoid another tragedy such as this going in our community. And with that being said, there is actually, this is leading right into, there's a community comfort session that's actually occurring on Thursday, April the 23rd at the Y2C at 34 Bond Street, and the cost is free, and it's happening from 6 to 8 p.m. And this event is being held in light of the recent tragedies that have been deeply impacted our community over the past few weeks. The community comfort session is a welcoming, drop-in space where you can connect, share, or spend time with others in a supportive environment. And this is an open, relaxed gathering, no agenda, and it's just a safe place to come for conversation, connection, and community support. Everyone is welcome. Come as you are, and it's sponsored by the YMCA and the Y2C, and it's a free event. So if you need that connection, or if you just want to socialize, or for any reason, it's certainly a good opportunity for everyone to take that in. Once again, Thursday, April 23rd at the Y2C, 34 Bond Street, from 6 to 8 p.m. and is the community comfort session. And I know we got bad weather coming, but there's an annual Mayflower Stadium Market coming in, and it's going to be held, it's sponsored by the Exploits Valley Community Market, and it's going to be held on Saturday, May 23rd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Joe Byrne Memorial Stadium, all ages event, and admission is by donation. And there's going to be over 75 vendors with something for everyone. Veggies and plants, baked goods, pet treats and accessories, home decor and crafts, clothing and jewelry, books, video game merch, and so much more. So I hope everyone takes that in. And on that Mayflowers note, I'm looking forward to some spring weather after our snow forecast for tomorrow. And one last thing, happy birthday to Deputy Mayor Bennett. And thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Hollett, for that important information. Councillor Feener, you're good? Good. Yeah. Oh, good. And Deputy Mayor is celebrating his birthday today, and 41, I think he is today.
A little bit older than that.
But go ahead, you're up.
Yeah, I got a couple of things here. I got to go back to Councillor Hiscock's community kitchen. I got to tell you, it was a wonderful event. They do amazing things there, and the meal was great. It was a wonderful event, and the company was even better. I got to talk to a lot of seniors that was there, and such wonderful people to sit down and have a chat with. Big thank you to Lori Ballard and her group of volunteers, and Councillor Hiscock is one of them, and they do just such an amazing job for our community. Next thing I'd like to speak about is Exploits Valley High Hockey Team. Last week at the Beaumont Hamel, they placed second. They lost out to another team in Central. I'm not going to mention no names, but there's another team in Central here that won the championship. But that was the first time a team in Central had won the Beaumont Hamel, not the 4As, but the Beaumont Hamel. That was the first time. Also, got a big shout out to a young fellow I talked about a few months ago, who played for a high school goalie who played for the Stephenville Lightning, Liam Hicks. He was amazing in this tournament, and he picked up 2 Player of the Game awards during the tournament. That was pretty nice. Next thing I speak about is something personal. It's congratulations goes out to my son and Shannon Sartor, who got engaged this past Saturday. And actually, she sent me a text today, and she said it was from your future daughter-in-law. So we're looking forward to that wedding. They'll be coming up, hopefully in the near future. And last but not least, myself and the mayor a few months ago made a little bet between the two of us. He's a big Bruins fan, I'm a Montreal fan, and made a little bet there that who would end up with the most points would make a donation to an organization here in town. So we both decided that it would be the Special Olympics. So when he said the Special Olympics, I'm going to throw in my portion also. So that'll be something that they can look forward to. And I know that I won, but you know, I mean, the mayor is the mayor, and you know, if he's going to cheer for Boston, he can go right ahead. But you know, I got the bragging rights for this year. We'll do it again next year. Thank you.
You got the regular season bragging rights. We'll see what happens in the playoffs. Yes, we will. I don't have anything tonight whatsoever. Last call. Anybody else got something they'd like to add to the meeting this evening? Going once? I'll call for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
And a seconder, Councillor Hullett. All in favor? Aye. Motion is carried.